Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to tell the difference between a real and a not so real bag. So we figured today we would start with Louis Vuitton just because it's a more recognizable and common brand. Yes, perfect. And would you say for someone who's just getting into maybe purchasing designer bags that their usual start is a Louis Vuitton, or have you seen people kind of go other brands?
Well, some ladies come to us, they've started with the contemporary brands. So
Okay.
they've maybe bought a Marc Jacobs or a Kate Spade, a Michael Kors, something like that. Now they're ready to take the step next to a luxury brand. And yes, usually it's Louis Vuitton from there.
Okay.
After that, they may be buying Gucci, YSL,
Right.
and then on to Chanel and Hermes if that's within their budget.
Perfect. What are some signs that you can tell right away whether or not it's real or not?
Well, when we're looking at a bag, we are looking generally for the smaller details.
Okay.
If we are looking for things like stitch counts, the fonts, the size of the font, the hardware, the date codes that are inside, the quality of the materials that are being used. The counterfeiters can't get all of it right. They can get a few things, and even the really good counterfeiters can get a lot right. They can't get all of it.
Right.
So we are always looking at even things like the color of the vachetta or the color of the canvas on a Louis Vuitton bag, even the weight, the smell sometimes it comes down to as well. It's never just one thing. We can, if we're looking for something and we find something, then we go looking even deeper and look for more things, because generally if we see one thing, there will be more.
Right. So for someone who has never purchased from Louis Vuitton before and they're looking to do pre-loved, what are some things that an untrained eye would be able to notice by looking maybe online at pictures? How would you be able to tell whether or not you're looking at something that's real or not?
That's hard to do. So I would always recommend using an outside service or an authenticator to do the work for you. A lot of people will do a little Google search and they'll find a few things and then think, oh, I can use that little bit of knowledge to determine if something's authentic.
Right.
And usually that's not enough. I would always recommend, whether you're buying from us or you're buying from any other reseller, do your homework, know who you're dealing with, deal with somebody reputable, and make sure you ask them about their authentication process.
Okay.
Take photos. Ask if they're transparent enough that they'll allow you to take photos. And then from there, you go and use a paid online authentication service where you can submit those photos to get a third-party, non-biased opinion.
Right.
I always encourage that myself. I encourage other resellers to do that too. If they won't allow you to do that, that's a red flag for sure.
Okay. Perfect. And is there any time, I know we had briefly touched upon before, but maybe with Louis Vuitton for someone, I know I've heard in the past something about the way the letters are formatted or the seams. You can tell briefly if it's cut off or something along those lines. Is that true?
It is, but to a point.
Okay.
If it's a design, a part of the design where they can't avoid it,
Right.
then you will see a cut off LV somewhere. But as a rule, on a Speedy, it's going to be one piece. So one side, your LVs are going to be upside down. That doesn't mean, oh, they're upside down, it's got to be a fake. That is one piece. So on one side, it will be
Because it wraps around the
upside
whole
right.
thing.
The other
Okay.
side, they will be upside down.
Okay.
But that being said, the LVs here will always be in the same place on any Speedy bag. They will never be down here, for instance.
Okay.
You will always find three on a Speedy 25.
Okay.
That in between your chaps. That is consistent. It's not an anomaly and this one just is different. No, those things are
Always the same.
consistent from one to
Okay.
the next. And the same, those are what we call the hallmarks.
Right.
That we look for, that to make sure, and then go from there. You will find other small things that may be different, but there are certain things that just don't change.
Right.
The chaps, for instance, on this one are flat. It's an older one. Now they're, on some of the models, they're putting a little bit of padding underneath, and it's raised a little.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's not authentic.
Right.
It does mean that if you're using a qualified authenticator, they will know that.
Right.
And they will be able to
So
advise
those
you.
the raised part is for the newer.
Some of the newer
newer,
ones
okay.
have that. And again, as I said, that's just something that a qualified authenticator who knows their stuff is going to know, and
Right.
that won't get past them.
Right.
They'll know
Perfect.
that that model should have that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I think it gives everyone sort of a general idea of what to look for, and especially if you're looking online, that there are services that you can use to send pictures to see whether or not
Yes.
it's
Yes.
authentic or not. So
And we can do that too for clients. If they're just looking for an authentication, let's say they have a bag they're looking at possibly selling, but they're not sure if it's authentic. We charge a very small fee, and we can give you that peace of mind
perfect.
to let you know if the piece is authentic or not. And then you can make a decision from there. Do you want to keep it? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to have it refurbished?
Right.
Nobody wants to walk into Louis Vuitton and have them tell them that their bag isn't authentic.
Yes. Now,
Right.
can people send you pictures of bags that they're looking at to see whether
Yes.
or not? Okay.
And there are
perfect.
certain details that we want, and
Right.
it would always be, of course, a good clear photo of the front, a good clear photo of the back, each of the sides. We want to see the details. We want to see the engraving on hardware. We want to see any stamping or imprints. We want to see the interior and anything that where the date codes are. Here that shows
Right.
us. We want to see the lining itself, so
Right.
that we can, because again, the counterfeiters don't get that perfectly. So we want to
Right.
see the texture of it. We also want to see zippers and zipper pulls. We like to see corners, the bottom of the bag, good, clear
Right.
close-ups. The more you can give us, the better and easier it is for us to determine and get you that authentication quickly
Perfect.
and accurately. If we don't have what we need, we would need to contact you and ask you for better pictures
Right.
in order to make sure, because we would never, make a determination without having the appropriate photos and just take a guess.
Right.
That's not acceptable.
Makes sense. Now you brought out this jacket that you want to
Yes,
talk about.
let's
so you
talk
can bring
about
them
that.
over. So just to
This
give you a look at the jacket.
Is a situation that occurred this week. We had a consigner bring this jacket in. We were very excited. A Montclair jacket at this time of
Very
year.
in style now.
Very in style. It's a classic piece. Would be wonderful if this is a piece that we could have in the store and have to offer. It would sell very quickly. So again, we do our due diligence, start the process to make sure that the item, whether it's clothing, handbags, jewelry, anything is subject to authentication. So first thing I do, I looked at the interior tag, and a red flag went up. I noticed the M. We have a problem. The little legs are the wrong angle. They're the wrong size. I also know that on Montclair, your stitching is going to be absolutely straight and specific, very, very clean, quite lined up just right. The color of that tag isn't quite right either. Sometimes people will say to me, oh, well, it's been worn, so it's changed color. That's not the case here. Then I looked at the zipper pull. Oh, we have a little bit of a problem here. That's not the way the authentic really should look. But, all right, so we've got 2 red flags. Let's carry on and see what's going on inside the jacket. Well, I noticed that the zipper was having a bit of a problem as well, undoing it. That was another red
Even
flag.
to get it up before, it was very difficult.
It was very difficult. This is one of the styles that has the comic inside. Again, I took a look at it. The color was off a little bit. I thought, okay, but let's look a little further. The edges are fraying. On the authentic pieces, they're a little more rounded. These are squared. The stitching is sloppy. It's not well done. From there, I've got 3 red flags.
Yeah.
Actually 4 with that zipper. I'm pretty sure it's not authentic. I know that this style is called the Maya. The Montclair jackets all have style names. So, and they do stitch that into their jackets. So I'm looking at the the tags, and the tags don't look too bad, but when I come to the tag where it says the style name, what do we have but Mocha,
Yeah.
not Maya.
Yeah.
So I'm done.
Yeah.
We can absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, say that we know this jacket is not authentic.
Yeah. So those are signs to look for generally when you're looking at designer clothing pieces are the tags and names
stitching,
of
quality, holograms, zippers and zipper pulls. Look at the back even of a zipper when the zipper head, at who the brand is. You can usually very easily online research what zipper brands that particular brand uses in their clothing,
Right.
Or in their handbags. If it's off, then it's not a brand that they're known to use or weren't known to use at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got a problem as well.
Right.
Quality of the fabrics. If this is supposed to be a down jacket, is there down in there? That I think this one has down. The other one I was showing you earlier
the other one doesn't.
has a polyester lining for sure, even though it's supposed to be down.
Yeah.
So in that case, some people say, well, what does it matter? I'll just buy the not authentic piece. In the case of a down jacket or somebody that may be using this for function, this or a Canada Goose, and they're supposed to be guaranteed to -30, let's say.
Right.
And that isn't the standard that has been manufactured into that jacket, and they wear it in those conditions, and they have a problem. It could actually be fatal.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that when you're buying something, and especially if you're using it for function, you want to know that you're getting what you're paying for.
Yeah, makes sense. Perfect. So I think we got some good ideas on clothing and handbags, how to really tell the difference between whether you're buying real or not so real. So I thank you for kind of walking us through how to tell, and I learned stuff today that I wouldn't necessarily look for. So I hope that gave everyone else sort of an idea of if you're new to buying pre-loved, or maybe you need some assistance in telling whether or not your bag's pre-loved. You can come here, you can email them some lots and lots of pictures of your items, and they'll be able to tell you. So I'll leave, of course, all their information in the description box. You can find them. And that's about it. So thank you so much for everything.
Karina. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a fun day today looking at all the bags, which you guys will all have seen in the video. So thanks.